Hello, greetings from Australia to the Kisoro Kids board members. We'd just like to join in this meeting and just send our thanks for all the hard work that everyone has put into Kisoro Kids for all these years. I know there are a lot of you who've been there a while, but we'd especially like to thank Chris, who's been there the longest, and Kelly as well, and of course everyone else who has sacrificed so much for Kisoro Kids. And we were just talking about what we could talk about, and first, it's just astounding when you look at the numbers of all the things that have been accomplished over so long a time. So I know we've put a lot of thought, everyone's put a lot of thought and energy and communication into working out what to do at what times. It's really challenging, right? So that's fantastic. Yeah, just looking at numbers of floors and roofs and buildings and all these things that have just cumulative over time, it's fantastic. And we were just reflecting on our journey and just thinking how amazing it is that you just don't know what God has for you. Even when you kind of thinking, no, that's not for me, God sometimes opens up things down the line. So when we were in Kabale, which is just like an hour out of Kisoro,
Yes.
over the other side of the impenetrable forest, which you can penetrate with a vehicle, we received an invitation from friends passing through to go to Kisoro, and I looked up in my guidebook and it said it was amazing. So I went there based on volcanoes in the background, a beautiful place. And during that time, this person who was actually working for the Ugandan Baptist Seminary took us to meet Pastor George at a school, and so they were having this conversation, and I took a few photos which I think were cool. I thought were cool. And but I kind of was trying to avoid anything ministry and work related at that time on our honeymoon. We were just relaxing. And so, yeah, didn't think much more of it until years later when we were looking at starting up this type of ministry. And then how did Pastor George come up again?
Yeah, I think when we were at seminary, that's when we knew Pastor George, and we knew that he had schools.
Oh, he was teaching us as well.
Yes, he was
Yeah,
one
he
of
was.
our
That's right.
professors. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think when we went there and we saw the schools, how they were, and the children have jiggers and all that. The classrooms were all like dirt, and they did not have desks. They were sitting on the floor. They did not have blackboards. They had just a little piece of blackboard.
Yeah, they did. Painted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we were thinking of like starting up something like that to help children in school.
And Chris was at that time too. We were all looking into this together.
So I'll just tell a small story.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
So it all started when I was with my kids, and the father of my kids pushed me out of the house, and I was the one who was paying their school fees. So I went to this church and I asked them, because they were paying school fees for the children who are coming from poor families. I went and met with the pastor and I asked him if he can help me to pay school fees for my kids, because the father of my kids had pushed me out of my business, so I did not have a job. My kids were not going to school. So the pastor said, come back tomorrow. He said yes. So when I went back the next day, the wife of the pastor, she said, you are not a member of our church, so we can't help you, I'm sorry. So I went back home crying the whole way. And but I prayed. I was crying, but I prayed. I said, God, if you help my children to be in school, if you help me and give me money to pay for my children's school fees, I'm going to help all the other kids who are going through the same thing that my family is in. And God was faithful when he brought Simon, and Simon started paying for my children's school fees. And I thought, you know what? I think God answered that prayer. We should start helping other kids. So that's how we started when we joined with Pastor George. That's how Kisoro Kids developed, for us to give back to the community for what God had done for us. Yeah, so...
That's so cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I thank God very much also for this journey, as Simon has said, because we shouldn't take any credit. It's you guys who have done all the work.
Yeah, especially these last few years. We haven't really done much, ashamedly. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chris. Like, we just,
Yeah, we are just
feel bad.
having mosquitoes here, so that's
Yeah,
why
we are.
all-
We're jumping around. I feel like I'm back in Uganda where I was always like doing this to try not to get malaria.
Yeah, so I would really love to thank God for you guys for the work you've done. Thank you for all the effort that you've put in to raise the money, to raise the awareness, to create the blog and all that stuff that you've done, the web page, you know. So
Financial record.
yeah, thank you. May God really bless you so much. Because of all that you've done, we have had kids right now who have even graduated from primary school. They're in high school. For example, one of the girls, what is her name? Violet.
That's the one that was,
You know?
I'll see that video. I have
Yes,
seen it.
yeah. So, and she's not the only one. There are others too. You can see that through just obeying God and doing what God asked us to do. So we have seen testimonies like that. Children who are vulnerable, children who have been way back without anything, still in the village, maybe having kids. They are now going to become someone and helping other people in their communities with even their families. So thank you guys so much for all the work that you did for Kisoro Kids. I know that it has been hard, but remember that we are doing this for God. There's a crown for each and every one.
That's true.
You know, because God's heart is on those people who are suffering. Wherever you help someone who is suffering, you're not helping that person. You're helping God, you know, because God created them and He loves them. Wherever you give to them, you're giving to God. So I believe and trust that God will bless you also on this earth and even in heaven. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say something else. What was it?
Yeah, and I received, okay, when you're still thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, think about it while you're...
I was talking with Pastor George today through messages. Actually, he just sent me this email like half an hour ago. Yeah, he said that with tears of joy, Agnes, I have seen God's mighty hand through Kisoro Kids. This is another divine provision. I have witnessed that defeats me to explain. As I reflect back of how we began with you and Simon, and even discussing this project at Uganda Baptist Seminary. We began with little, however, our mighty God multiplied it, and the whole district of Kisoro and the entire country of Uganda witnesses the impact of Kisoro Kids. We give thanks of what the Lord has done through Kisoro Kids, especially as we see the fantastic classrooms and our new church building at Kisoro Hill, dedicating them to the Lord as we lay a stone of remembrance of our tremendous work Kisoro Kids has done in our Baptist school and the entire association. So it's saying thank you so much, the team, and thank you so much, Simon.
And Agnes.
Yeah, and
everyone,
for all the work involved, for all the things that we've done. Because before us and you guys, no one was helping Pastor George.
It's really opened the door now.
You know?
Like, it's not that they're just don't have anyone. They've made connections. Pastor George has traveled to the US. It's pretty amazing.
Yes.
I remembered what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
It was about faithfulness. Like, all this is about trustworthy people and being faithful. And special credit to Pastor George, because it's hard to find. It's a country where there's a lot of temptation, with financial corruption especially, and he's proved himself faithful all these years. So without that connection that God made with Pastor George, this couldn't have happened. Yeah, there was something else I was going to say too, but I can't remember now. What's wrong with me? It's early onset dementia. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's good.
Yeah, so for me, it reminds me.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I remember it's a good ending. Like, this is a good ending. The way this is ending, like, it's ending on a high note. We've done all this. Kisoro Kids have done all this for the schools. We've left them at a better place than they were. And we've given, Kisoro Kids has given them advance warning of when it's going to end. I think it's just a great way of ending and the right time to end. So that's it.
Yeah, that's so good. And even the other thing is that through Kisoro Kids, you can see how these churches have multiplied. they have a lot of members now,
Really?
just because of the work that we started.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
know, I'm seeing all the churches, I always follow them, the videos they post. The churches now have many people who have come to the Lord just through the ministry that we started, just a small seed that we sowed. And see what God has done. You know, yeah. So we thank God so much for
Yes.
for all that He has done and for all that He has enabled you guys to do. God bless you.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. We love
We
you.
love you
God
and-
bless you. See what God has next for everyone
Yeah.
in life's journey. Very special thanks to our camera lady, Ivy, who's been standing there probably with mosquitoes. And thank you, Ivy. All right, see you guys.
God bless you.
Bye.